My fiancée fell in love with the poor junior student she sponsored, and she was desperate to break off the engagement with me, even though she turned a deaf ear to the advice of relatives and friends. My father was so angry that his blood pressure soared, and my mother almost fainted and was hospitalized. Overnight, my family became a joke among the rich. But no one expected that my family would discuss countermeasures that day. My mother took out her mobile phone to arrange a new marriage for me. How about finding the most beautiful woman in High City? My father said coldly, cancel the cooperation and stop subsidizing his family with 1 billion fund. I smiled and said, how about letting me handle these two things myself? 3 months later, in order to announce my marriage to the most beautiful woman in High City, I specially held a dinner party. All the people present were nobles, and many of them were my brothers who grew up together. In recent years, I've been busy with work and rarely attended such occasions. I have also become more estranged from my old friends. Taking this opportunity, I reminisced with old friends I hadn't seen for many years. They all sighed for the relationship between Shen Huaiwei and me and felt sorry for me. I smiled with relief. It's all over. She can find her own happiness, and I'm happy for her. My friends said I was stupid and advised me not to be so considerate, but I knew that my father was about to stop all financial support to Shen's. At this moment, I just needed to show my generosity. The door of the banquet hall suddenly opened, and a familiar figure appeared faintly in a dazzling light. I fixed my eyes and confirmed that the people in front of the door were my ex-fiancée and her current one. The atmosphere around us suddenly became awkward. Everyone comforted me with nothing to say, and everyone sighed. Why is she here? She is really thick skinned. Isn't that the Phoenix man next to her? He is much inferior to Mr. Gui waved my hand to signal my friends around me that I was fine, and then walked to Shen Weiwei with a smile and extended my hand politely. Welcome, Miss Shen. I am not hospitality enough and did not arrange someone to pick you up in advance. Shen Weiwei was stunned and shook hands with me. I generously introduced Shen Weiwei to everyone. This is Miss Shen from Shen's group. You should all know her, right? The one next to her is her boyfriend, Zhang Wenci, a student she once sponsored. For a moment, Shen Weiwei couldn't tell whether I was generous and forgiving or deliberately embarrassing her. After briefly greeting everyone, she took Zhang Wenci to sit in an empty seat in the corner. I walked up with my friends and said, Miss Shen looks a little uncomfortable today. We are all friends here. Let's have a few drinks together. It can be seen that Xin Huaiwei wanted to refuse, but her friends around her did not give her a way out. Instead, they started to make a noise. Miss Shen, you won't even give us precedent through this little face, right? The reason why she is dinner today was because in the 2 years since I took over Gu's group has developed rapidly and has become the most deterrent group in High City, while Shen's position is precarious. If it weren't for my father, who has been helping their family in every way for the sake of the marriage between the two families, Shen's group might have disappeared long ago. At the beginning of last year, the Shen group's capital chain broke. If it weren't for my father's 1 billion yuan of support, they wouldn't have the current Shen group. The most worrying issue for the Shen family now is whether my father will withdraw the funds after Shen Huawei and I break off the engagement. 3 months have passed, and although my father hasn't made any move, Shen's has already made people panic, and many of Shen's old employees have already jumped ship to join Gu's. Shen Huaiwei came to the banquet today, on the one hand to find out my attitude, and on the other hand to ease the relationship with me, so she had to drink this glass of wine. Seeing Shen Huaiwei drinking one glass after another, Zhang Wang and Xi next to her obviously looked unhappy. I raised the glass and shook it at Zhang Wenci, and Shen Huaiwei quickly pulled Zhang Wenci's arm. Wenci Shen's can be what it is today, all thanks to the support of Mr. Gu's family, you and Mr. Gu have a drink. Zhang Wenci was born in poverty, and he didn't understand these business dealings. Now he only cared about his own emotions, shook off Shen Weiwei's hand and left. Shen Huaiwei apologized to me repeatedly. Boss Gu, Wenci has been feeling unwell these days. Please forgive me. The brother next to me stood up for me. This Zhang Wenci is so bold. that he dared not drink the wine offered by our boss Gu. I waved my hand and smiled casually. Forget it. It's normal for children to be ignorant. The Gu group is well known. It seems unreasonable for my boss Gu to care about such a small matter. Xiang Huawei bowed and thanked me repeatedly with a bit of apology in her eyes, and then chased out. I have never liked this kind of occasion. After taking care of my good friends, I went to the back garden to take a breath and happened to meet Shen Xianghuawei, who was coaxing Zhang Nci. She persuaded helplessly, Nci, we can't afford to offend the Gu family. Can you also understand me? Zhang Nci, who climbed up to the rich family, said arrogantly, how can the great Shen family be afraid of him, the Gu family? Without them, Shen family will only be better. I lowered my head and smiled, laughing at his arrogance and his ignorance. Shanhao's is our Gu's. It can be said that in terms of time, Shen's is equivalent to 3 Gu's, and Gu's is an industry that my father's generation started from scratch. Perhaps it is because of good luck that the current Gu's can really cover the sky with one hand, while Horace's, by the generation of Shen Weiwei's father, due to poor management, outdated corporate structure, is only a reputation and has long been an empty shell. In fact, Shen's father originally wanted to wait until the marriage between the two families was completed before handing over Shen's to me to manage, but now it seems unlikely. If this continues, Shen's, which is already in a situation of holding on for one more day, will have no chance of turning around if my father withdraws his investment, and may even be burdened with huge debts. Jihan Weiwei saw me coming over and was a little flustered. Mr. Go, please don't be offended. I didn't mean anything else by politely declining him. Looking at my ex-Yankee, calling Mr. Gu all the time and making excuses for other men, I felt a little strange, but now I don't care about these things. Instead, I comforted her. Zhang Wanxi, I has just started to deal with business matters. Give him some time to slowly adapt. Shan Haowei was a little surprised. Zhang Wanxi, I shouted at me with resentment on his face. Gu Infeng, stop pretending to be a good person here. Don't think I don't know that you still miss Weiwei. Weiwei only loves me in her heart now. After Zhang Wanxi got angry, he didn't even give me a chance to speak and ran out of the banquet hall. I smiled helplessly at Shen Huaiwei. Children are more interesting than businessmen like me, and they are quite cute. Shen Huaiwei also relaxed a little and teased, Mr. Gu is not a businessman at all. You are clearly the type of domineering CEO. I raised my eyebrows. Oh, it seems that Miss Shen has a high opinion of me. Shen smiled bitterly. I didn't know how to cherish it at the beginning. How have you been recently? I smiled at her gently as before. I should be happier than you. In the banquet hall, the host's voice sounded, and I looked at Shen Weiwei. The banquet will start soon. Go back. Tonight's banquet is the day when I announce my big happy event, and I can't delay it because of Shen Weiwei. On the way back to the banquet hall with Shoujian Weiwei, I couldn't help but curl my lips. The good show is about to begin. I stood in the center of the stage, and Su Wai Iran, the most beautiful woman in High City, was wearing a high-end long dress and slowly walked down the spiral staircase. She walked onto the stage and slowly took my arm. I looked at her with love in my eyes, a little more than the love I had for Shen Huaiwei back then. I patted her hands gently, motioning her not to be nervous, and turned to face the guests. Let me introduce to everyone. This is my fiancée, Su Wai Iran. Su Wai Iran smiled shyly, raised her hand, and greeted everyone. Please bear with me in the future. The guests applauded. This is much better than that Shen Weiwei. If you ask me, Shen Weiwei is just ungrateful for what she has. Our president Gu can't find anything. He was really blind before I cleared my throat. The wedding invitations will be sent to everyone later. I hope everyone can come. Amid the cheers, I looked at Shen Huaiwei in the audience. Only her face changed drastically, as if she had suffered a blow. As I expected, before I got home, I received a message from Shen Huaiwei on my phone. Lin Feng, I didn't expect you to get married so soon. I wish you happiness. I calmly pushed the frame of my glasses and sent the words I had prepared long ago. I will not be able to take care of you by your side in the future. Take care of yourself. Your waist is not in good condition. Remember to apply hot compress on cloudy and rainy days. You often have migraines. Remember to keep medicine on the bedside table. She didn't reply for a long time. Maybe she was recalling the good things I had done to her. I didn't pay any attention to her. I went home, took a shower, and went to bed early. The next morning, when I turned on my phone, what caught my eye was the message Shen Huiwei sent in the middle of the night. I was sorry for you at the beginning. If I had the chance to do it again, I would definitely marry you well. But it's too late to say anything now. I stretched my body. Everything was as I planned. Let the past be the past. After such a long relationship, we can still be friends even if we can't be husband and wife, right? Zheng Haowei seemed to have not slept all night. Before I turned off my phone, she quickly replied to me, "Yeah, we are still good friends for life." I shook my head. Jiang Huaiwei was really easy to deceive. No wonder Zhanghua and Xia could be so charming. It seems that I was too sincere to her in the past. A woman like her will go with anyone who can coax her with sweet words. At this moment, I put down my phone and looked at Su Wai Iran, who was still sleeping beside me. I felt extremely relieved. Whether in family background or appearance, she was 100 times better than Xin Shen Weiwei, but she was more simple and kind than her. Although I have only known her for 3 months, I feel very close and relaxed when I am with her. Maybe this is the right person. I heard that after the banquet, Zhang Wang and Xi and Sheng Huawei had a big fight and insisted that she still missed me. Maybe Shen Weiwei's heart had been confused by him in the past, but after he made a scene at the banquet where I announced my engagement, Shen Huai would definitely think of me again. After all, I used to chase Shen Huaiwei, and maybe she still naively thought that as long as she looked back, I would be there. But facing the news of my sudden engagement and looking at this immature little boy in front of her, how could Shen Huaiwei not regret it? 2 days later, I was processing documents in the office, and the secretary suddenly came in and told me, "Shang Huawei is here." I smiled. "A guest is a guest. Please let her in." Shen Huawei walked in a little awkwardly. "I won't disturb you, right?" I closed the document. "No, I just finished my work. I will take you to your favorite restaurant later." Shen Huawei's expression was a little surprised. I scratched my head awkwardly. "Sorry. I'm used to it. I forgot that you have a new boyfriend now." Shen Huaiwei quickly agreed. "It doesn't matter. I have time. Just treat it as an old friend catching up." I lowered my head, pushed my glasses, and put away my smile. I naturally knew that she would agree. After Shang Weiwei and I broke off the engagement, she had a big fight with her family, and despite the opposition of the whole family, she was able to get together with Zhang Hua and Xi Smooth. But the Shen family knew very well what kind of crisis this would bring to the Shen group. Shen Houwei is the only daughter of the Shen family. She was spoiled since she was a child. The two elders of the Shen family loved their daughter and would not do anything to her, but Zhang Hua and Si, I was not so lucky. The two elders of the Shen family blamed everything on him, saying that he seduced Shen Hiawei by any means, which led to Shen Weiwei's big mistake. They also threatened that the Shen group would not give him a single share, and even refused to give him a job in Shen group. Now, in the eyes of outsiders, he is a little white face who has climbed up the high branch, but only he knows how difficult his life is now. Originally, he could have relied on his own talents to enter a good company and would have a lot of room for advancement, but now the whole high city is considering my face and is unwilling to use him. Now he can only be like a parasite, relying on Shen Huaiwei for food and drink. Once Shen Huaiwei leaves him, he will have nothing. In this way, his current state of nervousness and suspicion can be regarded as a reasonable explanation. It's just that he was wrong in drowning his sorrows in alcohol and even slept with the hostess for a moment of pleasure. Shen Huaiwei seemed to be unaware of this matter, and even her mind was full of thoughts on how to get closer to me. I looked at this woman with expectation on her face and couldn't help thinking, what a silly woman. Fortunately, I didn't marry her home. Although it was my father who ordered the withdrawal of investment from Shen's, he handed over the disposal rights to me according to my request. The reason why I didn't do it was just waiting for a suitable opportunity, and now it seems that this opportunity is coming soon. When Shang Huaiwei received the scandal of Zhang Hua and CI, I will withdraw the funding to Shen's on the grounds of bad influence. I hope that Shen Huaiwei will not blame me for being cruel at that time. After all, it was she who failed me, angered my father so much that his blood pressure soared, and caused my mother to almost faint and be hospitalized. I am just a for that. After finishing my work, I stretched my body slowly, and my eyes fell on Shen Huaiwei, who was still waiting for me on the sofa. She slowly raised her head while playing with her phone. Are you done? I nodded, and Shen Huaiwei said gently, Thank you for your hard work. I didn't know before that your work was so tiring every day. You know, I saw you working for the first time and you look pretty handsome. I smiled bitterly. In the past, I would always tidy up my appearance before meeting her, not wanting her to see my tired look, and always squeezed out as much time as possible to accompany her. But I never got her half understanding. Now, in order to please me, she has become gentle and sensible. Perhaps she will never know that during the 2 hours she waited for me, I was preparing for the follow-up related matters of terminating the cooperation with the Shen family. I put on my coat, and before I could say anything, Shen Huaiwei hurriedly stood up. Tan, we go now. I nodded and asked the driver to arrange the car. Along the way, Shen Huaiwei and I looked at each other in silence. The air was a little scary until Shen Weiwei's cell phone rang, and the ringing broke the silence. Shen Weiwei subconsciously wanted to hang up the phone, and I quickly grabbed her arm. It's still some distance to the restaurant. Answer it. Shen Huaiwei nodded in confusion. Okay. After the call was connected, Shen Huaiwei's expression suddenly became flustered. I guess that she probably knew about Zhonghua and CI. After hanging up the phone, she immediately called Zhonghua and CI's number, but no one answered no matter how she called. She held the phone tightly with both hands, her brows furrowed. I pretended to comfort her. Is there something wrong? Shen Weiwei realized that I was still beside her, and she immediately adjusted her mood. Ling Feng, I can't go to dinner with you tonight. Another day, another day, another day, I will. I smiled gently. Okay, if you have something to do, go first. Do you need to take you there? Shenhui was a little embarrassed and quickly refused. No, just pull me over and drop me off. I'll take a taxi myself. I didn't say anything more and nodded to signal the driver to stop. After Shen Weiwei got off the car, I saw Hurst standing on the side of the road through the rearview mirror, still making calls, but with an anxious look on her face. It seemed that no one would answer the phone. I called my subordinates and said, Make a big deal about this. I want to see it on the news tonight. Tomorrow morning, send the prepared withdrawal plan to Shen's. With the current strength of Gu's group within an hour, this matter will be known to everyone in Ha is high. By then, even if Zhang Wang and Ci kneels down to beg me, it will be useless. The driver asked carefully, Mr. Gu, where are you going now? I looked out the window and said, to see why you're on. In fact, I didn't plan to have dinner with Shen Huaiwei from the beginning. I had arranged everything before she came, and I knew clearly that she would know everything Zhonghua NC I did at 630 tonight. Originally, this restaurant was also decided for Su Wai, Iran, and me, but Shen Huiwei just happened to be caught in the crossfire. I just wanted to see her reaction after receiving the news. As soon as the car entered Su Wai Iran's neighborhood, I saw her jumping towards me from a distance. As soon as we got in the car, she happily took my hand and kissed me on the cheek. Thank you for taking time to accompany me, even though you are so busy. I was a little surprised after dinner. This was originally a matter of course for Shen Huaiwei, but in the eyes of this girl who was 100 times better than her, she was appreciated. I think this may have something to do with a person's upbringing. Shen Huaiwei was spoiled since she was a child, arrogant and domineering, and always thought that the world should revolve around her. I touched Su Wai Iran's head. I'm sorry, I haven't been with you well during this period. After this busy period, can we go abroad for a trip? Su Wai Iran agreed excitedly. Okay. I want to go to the Maldives. Perhaps a truly healthy relationship is that you should be considerate of each other and actively give each other emotional value. The longer I spend with Su Wai Iran, the more I feel that everything I did for Shen Jiangyou back then was not worth it. After arriving at the restaurant, I sent a message to the driver and asked him to go to Shen Weiwei to check on the situation. Not long after, the driver sent a video. In the video, Shen Wei was kneeling outside the gate of the Shen family, and Shen's father and mother did not come out until a long time later. Father Shen came up and started scolding Shen Wei. It's all your mother's and my fault that we spoiled you. Look at what you are looking for. Our relationship with Goose is in jeopardy because of you. Now that the news about Zhonghua and CI has come out, Shen's stock has plummeted. If Gu withdraws its investment, Shen's stock will collapse immediately, and the company will go bankrupt immediately. Do you think you have had too good a life in the past 20 years? Instead of enjoying your good life, you go find a pretty boy who can only cause trouble. Father Shen became more and more angry as he spoke. He raised his hand and slapped Shen Wei. Now tell that bastard Zhang Wen CI to get back here immediately. Shen Wei cried breathlessly, Dad, I can't contact him now. Hearing this, Father Shen was even more furious. Does he dare to do something he dare not take responsibility for? Now he knows to hide? Didn't he hold his head high before? Shen Weiwei was speechless and had to keep dialing the phone. As soon as I finished watching the video, Shen Weiwei called me. Lin Feng, have you seen the news? Please help me help Shen's okay. If it were in the past, I would definitely be soft-hearted when I saw Shen Weiwei crying like this. But things are different now. I no longer love her, and this matter was planned by me. I looked at Su Wei on with an innocent face in front of me. I'm sorry, I can't help you. I also have to consider the future of Goose. Shen Weiwei choked and refused to accept. I know I was wrong, Lin Feng. I will agree to whatever you want, okay? I will go to break up with Zhang Wang and see I tomorrow, please. I was still indifferent. I am having dinner with my girlfriend now, and I will arrange someone to deliver the withdrawal contract as soon as possible tomorrow. Now is my private time, I advise. Shen Han to her ask me anymore. I thought the matter was over, but I didn't expect that the next morning, as soon as I arrived downstairs at the company, I saw Shen Weiwei waiting desperately. Seeing me get out of the car, she immediately rushed over and grabbed my arm. I shook her off, Ms. Please be careful of your influence in public. If you have anything to say, please come up and say it. Seeing that I was letting go, Shen Huaiwei timidly followed me. As soon as I entered the office, Shen Huaiwei knelt down in front of me with a plop. I didn't even look at her, Ms. Shen Huaiwei shook her head again and again. No, Lin Feng, I just want to ask you to forgive me. It was me who didn't know how to cherish it at the beginning, and I didn't know what was good for me. It's all my fault. Now you want me to be your slave and I'm willing to do anything for you. I sneered. No, Miss Shen, please go back. I already have a girlfriend now. Please go back. Seeing that Shen Huaiwei was kneeling on the ground and had no reaction, I called the security guard to pull her out. In the next few days, Shen Huaiwei would appear at the door of my company on time, and I just looked at her coldly. The withdrawal contract sent to Shen's was also returned by Shen's father. I knew that Shen's just wanted the 5 million liquidated damages. A few days later, I redrafted a breach of contract compensation agreement for forced withdrawal of investment and attached a check for 5 million. This time, Shenlei had no chance to refuse, and they could only accept this reality. But this did not affect my plan. Shen's now had a hole of several hundred million, and a few million could not save Shen from the dire situation. Shen Huawei was now scolded by the entire circle. Some of them were brothers who stood up for me, and some were because of Gu's current power and status. But no matter what, no one would be willing to help Shen Power at the moment. Zhonghua NCI, who learned the news, was angry that Shen Huaiwei came to me to ask for reconciliation. Regardless of the scolding of Shen's father and mother, he ran to have a big quarrel with Shen Huaiwei and threatened to let Shen Huaiwei stop dreaming and marry him honestly to get married and have children. With Shen Weiwei's temperament, she naturally could not agree to him, but if she broke up with Zhonghua and CI at this time, it would be tacitly acknowledging the fact that he was messing around outside, and it would also make Shenzhen Shen Weiwei the biggest joke in the entire high city. Shen Huaiwei had no choice but to agree. A few months later, I learned that Shen Huaiwei and Zhang Wang and CI had obtained a marriage certificate, but Shen Wei, who always liked romance, was not proposed to and did not hold a wedding. After asking around, I learned that Zhang Wang, and see, I firmly believed that alien camel is bigger than a horse. He also knew that if he separated from Shen Wei, no celebrity would be willing to be with him anymore, so he used some tricks that were not presentable. He took advantage of Shen Wei's bad mood and drunkenness every day, and deliberately made her pregnant when she was unconscious. Shen Wei had been weak since she was a child. If she aborted the child, she might not be able to be a mother in this life, so she had to be forced to marry him. But Zhang Wan, see, I must not have thought that this society was not as a lean camel is bigger than a horse as he thought. The reality was that once the Shen family fell, they would be burdened with hundreds of millions of debts. The bank would seize all their assets, and they would be chased for debts every day and live a life of hiding. Perhaps even if there was no child, a shrewd man like Shen's father would force Zhang Wenci to marry Shen Weiwei. But now the delusional Zhang Wenci is still complacent, thinking that he has finally squeezed into the circle of the upper class. He took the money that Shen Huiwei had transferred to him before and spent it on wine and women outside, constantly supporting various hostesses, and even became reckless. What he didn't know was that when he spent all the money, Shen Huiwei would not be able to give it to him, even if she wanted to. Now he can be said to have more money than the Shin family in front of him. With this money, he could have lived a good life in the second half of his life, and even gave Shen Weiwei and the child a good life, but he used it all to buy luxury cars and villas for those women outside. I couldn't help but sigh. People are too ignorant and will only ruin themselves. A few months later, my wedding with Su Wai Iran was held as scheduled. She sat in the corner of the last row and watched the whole wedding silently. In a trance, I caught a glimpse of her red eyes, which seemed to be flashing with tears. During the toasting session, I walked up to her calmly. "Long time no see, this glass of wine is for you. If it weren't for your determination at the beginning, perhaps I wouldn't be as happy as I am today, and I wouldn't have met a good girl like Wai Iran." Shan Hui's tears slid down her cheeks. Happy wedding. Perhaps because she had experienced many things, or perhaps because she couldn't wear makeup during pregnancy, Shan Hui looked like she was a dozen years older, and she became much more vicissitudes of life. Even her clothes were no longer as particular as before. Looking at her current appearance, I couldn't help but sigh. Everyone has their own destiny, and one wrong step will lead to all wrong steps. After the wedding, I took Su Wai onto the Maldives trip she had told me about before, but as luck would have it, I ran into Zhang Wenci at the airport as soon as I got off the plane. But the woman he was hugging was not Shen Weiwei. Zhang Wenci. I was about to swing his fist at me angrily. "Gu Lingfeng, you are really haunting me. Are you following me?" I grabbed his arm. "How can I have the time? Don't ruin my honeymoon with my wife." The woman next to Zhang Wenci, I pulled the corner of his clothes, and he reluctantly put down his hand and turned away. Fortunately, Zhang Wenci, I did not appear again for a period of time. Su Wai Iranand, I went to 11 countries on our honeymoon, which was a long vacation for us. It was 3 months later when I returned home. When my parents heard that we were back, they specially prepared a sumptuous family dinner and waited for us at the door early. The moment she saw Su Wai Iranand, I get off the car. My mother smiled from ear to ear, and my father quickly took the things from Su Wai Iran's hand. It seemed that the two of them liked Su Wai Iran, their daughter-in-law, very much. At dinner, my mother kept putting food on Su Wai Iran's plate, and her bowl was almost piled up into a small mountain. I pretended to tease and help Su Wai Iran out of the embarrassment. "Mom, you have a daughter-in-law now, and you almost forgot that you have a son." My parents and Su Wai Iran laughed together. My mother looked at Su Wai Iran lovingly. "Wai Iran, Auntie has wanted a daughter since she was young. From now on, you should treat this place as your own home, and Auntie will treat you as her own daughter. If this brat bullies you, Auntie will be the first to disagree." Later, during the conversation between my parents and Su Wai Iran, I learned that my father and Su Wai Iran's father had known each other for a long time. When my father was young, he served in the army for several years. Su Wai Iran's father was my father's best brother in the army. At that time, the two of them made an agreement to become in-laws in the future. I didn't expect that many years later, I, who had a blessing in disguise, helped my father fulfill the agreement of the year. After a short rest for a few days, I had a small gathering with my brothers. At the dinner table, I learned that Shin Weiwei's child was born a daughter, but Zhang Wanzi I was very dissatisfied and insulted Shen Weiwei as a yellow-faced woman who can't give birth to a peanut. In addition, Shen's group is now on the verge of bankruptcy, may not last for a few days. Shen Weiwei suffered from severe postpartum depression. Jiang Wanzi, I not only did not care about Shen Ziwei, but also forced Shen Weiwei to give money every day. But where could Shen Weiwei get it? Even when she gave birth, she didn't have money to hire a confinement nanny, and suddenly became trans. I remember that when Shen Pi whether I wanted a daughter or a son in the future with a gleam in her eyes, I answered her. I want a daughter because watching my daughter grow up slowly is like participating in Shen Weiwei's childhood. Now Shen Weiwei really has a daughter, but it has nothing to do with me, and she was even scolded mercilessly. For me, there is no fluctuation in my heart. If I really want to say, I can only think that it was her own choice. But for Shen Huaiwei now, she must regret everything she did at the beginning. If she had not broken off the engagement with me, then Shen's might have been on the rise with the support of Goose. She should be enjoying her postpartum time and the confinements and should become the treasure of our family. She knows all this, but it is her own choice. But then again, Shen Huaiwei would never have thought that I had never planned to marry her home from the beginning. I remember when Goose was just established. Shen is still very famous, but Mr. Shenhua is not a good person. He targeted my father, who started from scratch and almost made Goose Company fail several times. Fortunately, my father had some talent in business, so he barely managed to survive. When I was 20 years old, Goose Company started to improve slightly. Later, I fell in love with Shin Chihuahua at first sight, but Shen's father looked down on me in every way, saying that I was the upper beam was not straight and the lower beam was crooked, and I was always thinking about taking shortcuts. Since then, I have secretly vowed in my heart that I must bring down the Shen group, but over the years, I have not found a suitable opportunity until Sheng Weiwei sponsored Zhang Wenci, a poor junior. It was the centenary celebration of the high school, and the school invited us to return to school as outstanding graduates to participate. Sheng Haowei and I met Zhang Wenci, who was in the third year of high school. At that time, he was wearing a school uniform that was not suitable for the season and was bullied by a group of taller boys who were squeezed in the corner. After learning about the situation, I learned that his parents died early and he grew up with his grandparents. But he was humble and his grades were also among the top in the grade, so I felt compassion and wanted to sponsor him to finish his studies, let him enter GUS, and become someone around me, but Shen Wei that she would sponsor him in order to grab the line. Unexpectedly, after being sponsored, Zhang Hua and I tasted the sweetness, forgot his roots, and began to think of some tricks to seduce Shen Biaowei. Although I was still young at that time, I was not stupid. I saw everything between the two of them clearly, but I didn't expose it. Over the years, I have always pretended to be ignorant and secretly fueled the flames behind the scenes. Zhang Wenci has also become a pawn of mine without knowing it. Now all this is within my expectations, or even beyond my expectations. In a blink of an eye, half a year has passed since this farce. Shen Weiwei went crazy because of postpartum depression without timely intervention. Zhang Wenci I was so fed up with her that he sent her to a mental hospital. Shen also declared bankruptcy, and Shen's father and mother, who were burdened with huge debts, jumped off the building and committed suicide. Zhang Wenci I then realized how foolish he was at the beginning. He wanted to reform himself and find a job steadily, but Gu's reputation had spread all over the country. No matter where Zhang Wenci went, no one was willing to hire him. Later, he served dishes in a restaurant for a while, but it was easy to go from frugality to luxury, but it was difficult to go from luxury to frugality. How could Zhang Wenci accept his current life? Not long after, he came to the beach and jumped into the sea to commit suicide. It is said that when he was salvaged, his body had been soaked out of the giant view. When the police arrived at his home, they found their child lying stiffly on the ground, starved to death. Later, I went to the mental hospital to see Shen Piaowei. As soon as she saw me, she cried and rushed to me. Lin Feng, you came to see me. Where is our baby? Looking at her talking nonsense, I didn't say anything. She cried and suddenly laughed. Lin Feng, you are here to take me home, right? I will pack up and go with you. I shook my head and ignored her, but out of pity, I paid for her hospitalization fees in the mental hospital and said volunteering to bear all her future expenses. But what I didn't expect was that a week later, I received a call from the hospital saying that Shen Weiwei took advantage of the nurse's inattention and ran to the rooftop and jumped off the building. Before leaving, she left a letter for me. The general content of the letter was that she was sorry for me in this life, and if there was a next life, she would definitely love me well. Before the nurse finished reading, I interrupted and said, just throw the letter away. There may not be an afterlife in life, and if there is, I don't want to meet Shen Weiwei again. After hanging up the phone, I walked behind Su Wai Iran, who was cooking, and hugged her tightly. Su Wai Iran said gently, what's wrong? Are you tired of reading documents? I shook my head. Wai Iran, it's great to meet you in this life. In the next life, I still want to marry you. Su Wai Iran turned around and hugged me, standing on tiptoes to kiss my forehead. Okay, life is an unsolvable multiple choice question, and every step you take counts. I am very lucky to have met Su Wai Iran in this life.